big news for Chrystul Kizer and Kyle Rittenhouse. And you may be wondering, like, well, I see in the headline here it says, Chrystul Kizer wins appeal. Sex trafficking can be used as defense for murder. Well, what the hell does it have to do with Kyle Rittenhouse? Trust me, it has a lot to do with both of them. And so the big victory here, of course, is for Chrystul Kizer. She is now going to be able to present an argument that before the court would not have allowed her to do so. And so it went to appeal. They said, no, she can present this argument. And frankly, I think this gets her off. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnnie Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnnie Walker Dread Show.
So is this a big victory for Chrystul Kizer? Oh yeah, this is a big one because I think this gets her off. As I said, I have a feeling now that there's no way that a jury is going to convict her. Now, I'm not saying that a jury will exonerate her, but I think we're looking at a hung jury here for sure. All right, let's go ahead and read this. There is Chrystul. Chrystul Kizer is accused of first-degree murder for killing Randall Volar III. She says he was trafficking her for sex. And yeah, Randall Volar is a real scumbag. There's no doubt about it. He was involved in a lot of really bad things. He was being investigated at the time for serious crimes, including sexual assault of children and child porn. The Kenosha DA did not charge him with the crime, and I have a whole video on that as to why in the hell didn't DA Michael Gravely pursue this. Gravely is saying that he would have, and in fact that Randall Volar was shot on the very day that they were going to go and make an arrest. I kind of doubt that, but what good does it do? He had plenty of time to go in and arrest Randall Volar. He never did. We told you, and there's a link there, by the way, if you want to go and read it. I'll post this entire article in the description below. We told you how Mike Gravely's office was responsible in part for Volar's death by dragging its feet with the investigation after Kenosha police recommended many felonies. And again, if Randall Volar had been picked up, Randall Volar probably would not have been shot, but they let him go, even though they had a mountain of evidence against him for some very serious crimes. It's a little bit of a mystery as to how in the hell Randall Volar got away with this. This morning, June 2nd, 2021, the Wisconsin Court of Appeals ruled that Chrystul Kizer can mount an affirmative defense. And again, an affirmative defense is one in which you admit to the elements of a crime, but you are not guilty of the crime because of some other extenuating circumstances. Self-defense is the most common affirmative defense. This is not self-defense here, though. That is, she can admit to the murder of Randall Volar and maintain that she did it because she was trafficked by him. The court said in part, we granted leave to appeal the order, and because we conclude the circuit court, Judge David Wilk, erred in its interpretation of 939.461M, we reverse. And then later, thus, as far as the first-degree intentional homicide charge against Kizer is concerned, if the section 939.461M affirmative defense is deemed applicable to that charge, okay, it looks like they have already made that determination, it would, if successful, act as a complete defense and not simply mitigate the charge to second-degree intentional homicide. Now, what they're talking about here is what often happens with self-defense. It turns out that if you are claiming self-defense, but you can't claim every element of self-defense, you have what they call an improper self-defense. And an improper self-defense, depending on which elements that you can claim, would drop a first-degree murder charge down to second degree. A proper self-defense exonerates you, essentially, okay? And they're saying the same thing here, that this does not just simply limit the scope down to from first degree to second degree. This would exonerate her if it is deemed successful by the jury. Okay, they have a link here to the entire opinion. So here is the complete decision. I'll go ahead and link this in the description below if you want to read it. I'm going to go ahead and read through it today and see if there's anything juicy and maybe make another video about it. Okay, so in summary, Chrystul Kizer is not claiming self-defense. I don't think the evidence supports self-defense. He was sitting in his chair, for God's sake. Okay? It would be really hard for a jury to look at that and say, well, yeah, she had to kill him because, like her life was in immediate danger. It's kind of tough. So instead, they went after this, what I call a safe harbor rule, and that is that if you have a crime that's connected to sex trafficking, then you can admit to the crime, but be exonerated of it if you can make a strong connection that the crime was a result of this sex trafficking. Wow, I don't buy it. I really don't buy it in this case. I just cannot see how her killing of Randall Volar was related to the sex trafficking. Okay? Yes, he was sex trafficking her. How strong a nexus is there to the killing of him? Oh, I tell you right now, this looks to me like a license to kill, and you have to be very, very careful about this. This person here injured me very seriously. Well, you go to the cops. No, I'm just going to go in and kill him, and then say, because I suffered injury from this person earlier, I can't be held responsible for it. Wow. If this is successful, it's going to be open season on pimps everywhere in this country. And you might be thinking, well, it's great. It's great. We don't want them. Got to be really careful about this. I mean, the natural extension of this is this person robbed my jewelry store. Well, damn it, I'm going to go and kill him. He injured me. He cost me a lot of money. I mean, where do you draw the line on this? It's always been understood that retribution is not okay. It's not legal. I mean, it's understandable, and maybe in certain cases you can make it morally okay, but legally it's never been okay to take the law into your own hands. In a sense here, that's kind of what they're saying. Now, she hasn't won yet, and she may not be successful. She's going to be, though. I can tell you right now, I cannot see a jury convicting her. I don't think the jury will exonerate her, but I think you're looking at a hung jury because you got to get all 12 people to look aside and say, this young black female who's sex trafficked should go to this prison for the rest of her life. It's not going to happen. I just don't see that happening at all. I mean, this is really, really worrisome. Okay? And I understand her plight. I'm not against Chrystul Kizer. I'm looking at the bigger picture here. This whole idea somehow that we can legalize revenge. And in a way, that's kind of what she did. He did something horrible to her. She got her revenge by shooting him. Now, the state is going to present a case where this was a premeditated murder, that she did this to get the dude's car or something else. However, this puts a lot more pressure now on the prosecution because, again, you have to have all 12 people agree to convict a young black female who was sex trafficked for a life sentence. I just don't see it. And of course, a big winner also is Kyle Rittenhouse. If she had been convicted of murder, everybody would have turned to the Kyle Rittenhouse trial and be demanding he must be convicted. You convicted this young black female. Why are you letting this white supremacist kid get away with it? They're not going to be able to understand the differences between the Chrystul Kizer case and the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Remember, in my previous video, I mentioned the woke crowd, the BLM crowd, they are missing a part of the brain that allows them to understand the differences between two different events. And they're going to think that Chrystul Kizer, Kyle Rittenhouse, they are identical in everything except for the race. She claimed self-defense, but she was convicted. Now, you might think, well, wait a minute. She didn't claim self-defense. She's doing the safe harbor. They're not going to understand that. They're not going to understand that. It's going to be, in their mind, still a self-defense claim. And so they're going to think that these two situations are the same, and the only difference between them is the race of the people involved. And so Kyle Rittenhouse really needs Chrystul Kizer to be exonerated. And I have a feeling now that's going to happen. I would not be terribly surprised if DA Michael Gravely comes to Chrystul and says, okay, let's talk about what you can agree to, and we'll walk away from this. a plea bargain. He's offered a plea bargain before, and she turned it down. Of course, the plea bargain he offered before was pretty severe. It was, I think we're talking about 10, 20 years. Okay? He's in much worse shape now. I think that he might plea bargain this thing down to manslaughter, get a 2-year sentence or something like that. She might take it. That would work out really good for everybody involved. At least from a legal standpoint. Moral, well, whatever. That doesn't seem to matter anymore. So look for a plea bargain. Look for her to accept it. And if so, that will ease a lot of strain on DA Michael Gravely and Thomas Claire Binger. Like my video, subscribe to my channel.